Welcome to another episode of Queens of Country. I'm Jason Brown from The Fred Show and iHeartRadio, and I am so excited for my guest today. And I know I say that in every episode. I'll be completely transparent. However, the artist that I'm talking to today literally has two songs that have been my life for like the last 4 years. So I am very excited to welcome Mackenzie Porter to Queens of Country. Welcome, girl. How are you?
Oh, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me today. I'm so excited to talk to you. And I just want to gloat for a second on you because I always like to start off where like I first heard you and just like became obsessed. And this goes back to probably like 2020. These days was my jam. Okay.
You're
Like
like an OG.
I
I love it.
I am, and it's like been on every like country playlist I've made since like 2020. But one thing I do want to let you know about that song, and I want to know a little bit just about the background of that song and how it came to be. But it was sort of like my COVID buddy, like partner playlist sort of song. And so like whenever I just like wanted to feel like I was in a good mood and I was stuck in my house or whatever, like these days was the go-to. So like thank you so much for that song. And just selfishly, I know we want to talk about the new project and we're going to get to that, I promise, but I had to ask you about these days just because it like was everything to me for years. So tell me a little bit about the song and like how it came to be and how you made such a massive hit, at least in my household.
Gosh, well, thank you for listening to it.
Yeah.
Um, so I wrote that, my gosh, back in like I think 2018.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
and I love to feel nostalgic, like
Yeah.
thinking about a past relationship or like just past times. Like I love that feeling, or when you're like driving by like an old place you used to go, like that feeling that kind of overwhelms
Yes.
like old
Hmm.
times. So I wanted to kind of encapsulate that in a song. And I just remember I was actually filming the TV series that I was on at the time, and I had like a whole list of what like I would say are hooks in my phone.
Yeah.
When I was like sitting on set, I would just like write titles, and I took that back to a couple of my friends in Nashville, and we wrote it, and then I sent it in, and my producer's like, I like it, but we need to like change it a bit, so we rewrote it. That song has had like four lives.
Oh.
Um, yeah, but it did do really well for me, and like I feel like a lot of people um related to it, and I don't know, just like put a good vibe in people's cars or in their homes when they were listening to it.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I think, just listening not only to that song, but sort of through your whole discography, like you are such an amazing storyteller. And those are my favorite songs from you are like that sort of take you to another place or like whether it be another, location or another time or whatever, you have a way of just conveying that story so well. And that's another reason why I'm such a huge fan. When you're looking at sort of like your either the writing process or when you're farming for songs or whatnot, what is sort of your mentality? Is it sort of the same? Like when maybe if you haven't, don't have a writing credit on it, but you're like, this song is for me. Like, what are you sort of looking for? Is it a feeling? Is it, a vibe? Like, what are you looking for when you know that that is for you?
I think it is a feeling. Obviously, like I'm the same as you. Like lyrics are everything to me.
Yeah.
And so like a lyrical twist, if I hear something that's like really unique or different or just like well twisted, I guess I love
Yeah.
that. But mostly I'm just like a basic girl, and like if the song makes
Same.
me
Yeah.
feel something, like if it
Yeah.
makes me feel either like my three emotions, like happy, sad, or pissed,
Right.
then
Yeah.
I like usually like it.
Yeah, no, for sure. My friends are always like, you're like a sad girl. Like I have sad girl playlists up the yin yang. But we did a study on the show the other day and it was like, men listen to the beat more and women listen to the lyrics. I'm like, absolutely not. Like if it's just some like random song that I can't like get into the lyrics of the story, like I don't want it. That's very much how I am, but yeah.
Especially in country. I mean, I feel like country is
Yeah.
so much about like the story and or like
Yes.
creating a visual,
Yeah.
instead of just like the music and the beat, I guess.
Yeah. And when you are sort of, writing a song, do you ever go in, do you have like sessions where it's like, okay, I have to write a song this day or this week or whatever it might be? Or is it more of like a, as it comes to you, jotting notes down on your phone? You said you had hooks in your phone. Like maybe it's a little bit of both. What does that process sort of look like when you're actually like sitting down to write a project?
Yeah, when I'm sitting down to write something, it's like I'll write 5 days a week, and it's part of the job. And
Yeah.
even we'll take writers out on the bus and write between sound check and the show or whatever. So I really do like treat it like I'm going to show up every single day and try to write a song. But
Yeah.
there are some times where you just have no other choice but to like write the song if it's like 2 in the morning and you're like, I have this idea and I just want to like sit with it and try to get it out. And then for me, I would like take that idea to my friends in the next session the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like your brain is probably like never off in a way, right? Like it's never done
Always.
and you're never, you can't, probably when you're so creative, you can't like turn that off, right?
But I feel like everyone's like always looking for like the next hook or title, and we
Yeah.
always like make fun of like all songwriters in a room, and somebody will say something like "great," and all of us are like, uh, writing that down.
Right. You're like, wait, that happens to us. So on our show, there's like 6 people and we all sit in a room and like we're all friends. So we just like BS all day, basically, or all morning. And so it's like I'll be saying something and telling a story or whatever it might be. And then the mic will come back on, they'll be like, all right, so Jason, you said, I was like, wait, I was not ready for that to be on the radio. I
Oh
can
my
imagine
God,
being like that with songwriters and being like, no, you don't have permission to write about my life like that.
that's so funny. That would
Yeah.
I feel like that would get me in trouble.
Oh, it does. You forget there's a microphone when you at times you're like, wait, so I always love hearing these stories of what was like the aha moment for you and at sort of what age where you were like, wait, I really have an urge to write, or wait, like I can sing. Like, do you remember that moment? And like, what was that like for you?
Oh man, I've been singing forever. Like my parents were so they really wanted us to be in music and learn how to read music and perform. And so I
Okay.
started singing lessons when I was 4 years old. And
Wow.
started like doing musicals and all that kind of stuff, like super, super young. I think I was in my first musical, I was like 6. So I don't really remember like not,
Yeah.
but songwriting, I was a little bit later too. I think I started when I was like 18, maybe.
Okay.
Um, and I just felt like at the time I needed like to express my emotions and
Yeah.
get things down on paper, and I
Yeah.
started writing songs, and I don't know, I just really, really loved it.
Yeah, that's well, it comes through. I mean, one thing about you is that from the music from a fan standpoint, it's authentic, right? Everything comes off as authentic, and I think everyone likes to look at that at one of their favorite artists. Like, you want to believe what they're saying, and want to believe that they're telling the truth, and that's what comes off from your music. So another reason why I'm such a huge fan. And you touched a little bit about bringing writers on the bus, and I wanted to bring up touring because you're all over the place, it seems like. And I saw your bus tour video and it was chaotic and I love it because that's how my life is too. What when you're on the bus, are you ever like and you're driving around the country, do you ever just get annoyed and just want to be by yourself? Does that ever happen? Yeah.
Yeah, that's like what I get annoyed of is like small spaces, like
Yes.
in the band, like squishing by each other and like brushing my teeth in like the nasty bus bathroom,
Right.
like that kind of stuff. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I'd rather be doing that than like flying gigs. I mean, it's just
Oh
the bus
yeah.
is so nice because you get to like actually sleep through the night. Uh,
Right.
so I am grateful every time we get to take a bus too.
Yeah. And you get like a pseudo bed kind of, right? So at least,
It is like I say it's like my little coffin. You're like
oh yeah.
literally you can't even sit up in it, but it's kind of cozy and like dark and cold, and I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah. What are like maybe like 3 snacks you have to have on the bus with you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm obsessed with dill pickle chips. Have you had dill pickle
Yes.
chips?
Yes. Anything pickle, I'm obsessed with. Like, I just found out there's a pickle festival near me and I missed it this year. I'm like, but next year I'm going to the pickle festival. Like,
Oh my
that's
God. I'll come with you, okay?
okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, seriously, anything pickle for me. So dill pickle chips, probably like bananas or like something like easy in the morning. And
Yeah.
then I'm like such a big coffee person, so we have like a pretty cool coffee, you know, thing that we make nice coffee every morning.
Oh yeah, I gotta have coffee for sure. If I'm gonna survive that bus trip, I'm gonna need to not, fiending for caffeine. That sounds delicious to me. I'm starving right now. So also want to congratulate you. Last year you became a mama, right? That's so
Yes.
exciting.
Literally, she's downstairs with my husband right now.
Oh my
That's been a
God.
very interesting, like, um, to tour with a baby and like
Yeah. Is she hitting the road or is she at home? What are we
she.
doing?
So she's only 4 months old. So she has come to one show
Oh my
and
God.
did fly her. The first couple flights, like there's 2 flights there, 2 flights home, and she rocked it. And then the last two, we were those parents that had like the screaming child,
Oh
and
no.
we tried everything. Like I was trying to nurse her, I was trying to do all this stuff to like
Oh
calm her, but she
yeah.
was mad. So
Okay.
we're gonna start taking her to ones that like make sense where it's like
Yeah.
not too hard on her. But my husband works from home, so if I'm gone for like
Perfect.
1 day, it's easier for her just to like stay home.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, she needs to learn from an early age. You're a traveling family, right?
She is already a country fan, I
I
think.
like, yeah, I mean, obviously she has to.
Yeah.
She has to be. Anything, you've been on tour with so many just like insanely huge stars too. Like that had to be so cool. What can you think of maybe like from the last tour, just like an amazing moment that you can remember, your favorite moment?
So I just did a show with Keith Urban, and I feel like the cool
Insane.
thing, it was so crazy, like such a fan of his. But the crazy thing is, I feel like when artists get like super big, they don't do their
Mhm.
own sound check. Like they just show up for the show, and that's kind of
Right,
it.
right, right.
He's like on stage, like rocking guitar his entire sound check. And then my sound check started, and he was kind of just like standing in the back. And I'm like, are you gonna watch my whole sound check? Because I was nervous. And
Right, yeah.
yeah, he kind of stood there, like hung out, and I got to meet him. And I just thought that was so cool that he like still shows up and like really cares about it every single show.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you kind of have to take, I love that you sort of take accountability for it, like, hey, I'm going to be up there. It's me that's going to be embarrassed if it doesn't work. So I guess let me put it on me to make sure it works. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. So I obviously I want to talk about the album. And one thing I want to let anyone who hasn't is listening to this and hasn't checked out Mackenzie's music. One thing about Mackenzie Porter is she's going to give you a song that gets stuck in your head. And that is 100% true because I woke up this morning. Obviously, I've been, diving in more, just listening to, re-listening to all your stuff to get ready for this. And I woke up singing Pickup. That happened this morning. And I think it's such like it's such a tall tale sign, I think, of like how your day is gonna go. Like I wake up with a song in my head every single morning, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
what
right away.
happened. Right. And I'm like, okay, Pickup was in my head this morning. So I want to talk about the album, Nobody's Born with a Broken Heart. What a cool, like, just like, I guess, title of the song is amazing, but what made you sort of translate from that song, which is it so like hits the nail on the head, I think, just for your life. If I was gonna guess what your life is like Nobody's Born with a Broken Heart, just about all the, what the last year probably of just like your life and everything going on personally, but then also just why did you choose that song to sort of be the title of the album and to sort of umbrella the whole project?
I think there's a ton of heartbreak songs on the record, and
Yeah.
songs about maybe, you know, hardships, whether it's
Hmm.
like, through marriage or like through, there's a song about like my career so far and like how Nashville's been like a little bit tricky for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted like the whole project to be like, we all start off so pure and innocent, and then
Hmm.
life throws shit at us, and like
Yeah.
challenges and heartbreak and disappointments. And at the end of it, after all of these songs of my like story, you're kind of like a hot mess, but that's kind of
Yeah.
what shows that you like went for it and like took risks and stuff. And then I had that title and that song. And then as soon as I got pregnant, I was like, oh, this is even cooler because my
Yeah.
daughter's going to be born so perfect and pure and innocent. And she's going to face those things too. And that's just what life is.
Right. Yeah. And it sums it up so well. I mean, honestly, the album is a no skip. I am obsessed with so many songs. I was like trying to narrow down like which ones do I want to ask you about, but I do want to talk about Chasing Tornadoes. One, because we just had like crazy tornadoes in Chicago, which is so crazy. It never hits the city, but like it did. So like I've been like listening to that this week, and I know, it's figurative. It's not like you're actually chasing tornadoes. But what was that process, right? Because Lainey wrote part of that, right? Or wrote some
Yeah,
of
she
it.
did. Yeah, so I'm not really sure if it just didn't make a record
Yeah.
or what, but she kind of had sent it to like our team, or that hit her team had,
Yeah.
and heard it and I loved it. And at the time, I didn't have a song, like a tempo song that was kind of like edgy like that.
Hmm.
And we just decided I was going to put a vocal on it and see how it sounded. And we all kind of fell in love with it. So,
Yeah, it's so cool, and it does stand out as like, it fits in the theme of the album, but it stands out as like almost like a new and different sound from you in compared to all the other parts of the album. But it's a little funky, like I don't know, I really liked it. It had like that cool little funk. And another song that I was like, wow, this is so clever, and just like the sound was so different, really, from like anything that I'm listening to right now. Was Rough Ride for a Cowboy. Like it's so very like I don't even know how to describe it. What was sort of the background of that one?
so that I was out, me and a bunch of my girlfriends and one of our producer friends went out to Gatlinburg and we were just writing
Oh,
and
cool.
drinking wine and all this stuff
Yes.
and doing a writer's retreat basically. And I had this title, Rough Ride for a Cowboy, and we started like just I don't know that song kind of just like fell out within like an hour or something, and
Wow.
it's just kind of like a sassy song like you know this guy who has always done the goodbying is now going to hear goodbye for the first time.
Right. Yes. Yeah, and it almost gives
So
like,
those kind.
oh yeah, 100%. Cocky, a little bit's okay. Too
Yeah,
much cocky is we're not here for it, right? Like,
exactly.
no, thank you. But I love sort of how it's like, I don't know, like it's like Western sounding. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
It
So I wanted
almost has like a Spanish flair or something.
Yes, yes, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
Uh-huh.
kind of went into the studio and I was like, I kind of want it to be like a I don't know, like a not like a spaghetti western tango-y thing, but
Yeah.
in
Yeah, for sure. When you're writing, do you sort of like, are you just trying to get something down that's sort of like feeling your emotions, or do you have like the whole production piece in mind at the same time? Or is it like, let me just sort of like write the formula of a song and then we'll like figure out what the production side of it is after?
no, I think I'm like singing production the whole time. Like there's
Okay.
demos of me like or voice memos of me like
Yeah.
singing just guitar vocal, and then in the background I'll be like, and then the drums come in and like do 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 do.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
feel like I'm
Yeah.
like always thinking about how big it could be, or how we make it like special in some way in a production standpoint.
Yeah. It'd be really cool. Do you ever think about letting those voice notes out? I love
I
listening to them.
literally I should. There's so many like, and it's crazy like at the beginning of writing a song
Yeah.
how it changes so much to the end.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of like hum a line that doesn't really work, but it's like a filler line, and we'll go back and fix it. So I
Yeah.
should actually do that through from this album. That's a good idea.
Yeah, or like on a deluxe or something. Because some artists do that. And I just think it's so funny. And I love listening to, you know, how it's literally so raw coming out of their mouths and out of their brain. And then like hearing how that translates into the final project is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of my favorites, the last song I want to hit on the album is Easy to Miss. I mean, it is like the quintessential, like, superb country song. Like it just gets stuck in your head. It is like pristine, perfect. Where did that one come from?
So that one I didn't write as well, but it actually cut that song like 4 years ago. Um,
Wow.
and I like obsessed with it. And then I think Demi Lovato was gonna cut it, and so it kind of got pulled from my record. I know, bizarre.
That's wild. Yeah.
Um, and then I was like, damn, like we already cut that, all this
Yeah.
stuff. And something happened with her not cutting it, and it
Yeah.
came back to me, and we redid it, um, reproduced it, and I agree, it's like one of my favorites on the record too. It's just kind of like a really nice pop country song.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. It's such an awesome way to start the album off, and you're just in for a ride. And I truly mean it. And I take my driving time very seriously. So I live in the suburbs, so it's like a 30 to 40-minute commute every day to the radio station. And so like what I listen to, like I like pick it out. I'm like, okay, like this is how my drive's gonna be. Like that's my me time, right? Like I don't have anyone bothering me. I'm not on any calls or meetings or whatever it might be. And like this album is such a good driving album. And I just hope you like coming from me, that means more than I think the normal person, because I take my drive time very seriously and it doesn't stress me out. It's good accompaniment. So yes.
Honestly, that's what I think I said this like in some sort of like EPK thing that I did. That all I wanted was like people to pick like one or two songs
Yeah.
that was the song they chose in their car because
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. Like that is when I listen to songs
Yeah.
intently and like, I'm sometimes in the house, I'm like cleaning or whatever, but I'm distracted. When I'm
Yeah.
driving, I'm like really focused on the song. And that's like when I
Yes.
think about music so much.
Right. Yeah. When you're finishing up this album or any project you're working on, are you listening to like your music in the car to try to like see what it sounds like and is it done yet?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Honestly, I try to listen like, okay, if I didn't know these songs, like how would I like this song or how would I react
Right.
to it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's impossible to do, but I try to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just for even like production notes where I'm like, okay, I think actually this bass part needs to like come up or whatever. So I do listen to it a lot.
Yeah. And I just got a vision of, you and me, we're like going to hang out and you pull up, pick me up, and you're listening to Mackenzie Porter. Like that is now my dream. So it's gonna
I
happen. It's so
I
fun.
will say like sometimes I like go up to like a stoplight and I'll be listening to my songs like pretty loud and I'll look
Yes.
over and people are like looking at me and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is not cool. I gotta turn off my own song.
Right. Um, the last that's really funny actually. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap it up, and I want to hear what you have planned for the rest of the year, is the collab with Dustin Lynch. I mean, huge, insane, and I also want you to know that I have been you so many times while I'm driving in my car. I don't sing Dustin's part in the car. I sing Mackenzie Porter's verse and
Hell
chorus
yeah.
when I'm in the car. Tell me just how that whole experience has felt. Obviously, it's probably you can't put it into words, just how massive that song was and like how just that whole moment was for you.
I mean, it was crazy. Like
Yeah.
it was all, I mean, a lot of it was during COVID and then like right after COVID. So a lot of it we experienced at home and then like
Hmm.
when it went number one and stuff, and sat there for so long,
Yeah.
it was just the wildest experience. And I got to do so many cool songs. Like I think it's so insane that a 3 minute and 30-second song can
Yeah.
change so many things.
Yeah.
You know, and we got to do like Jimmy Kimmel and Good Morning America, and I played Nissan
Mhm.
Stadium and did my Grand Ole Opry debut, and like just like so many firsts as an artist,
Yeah.
that were so important to me and like moments I'll never forget because of this little song.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And I mean, it's such an amazing song, and you sing your butt off on that song. So it's hard for me to say. I feel like I sound like you, but I probably definitely do not.
You
But
know what? That song is a little bit of a like tricky one to sing. It's so high.
yeah,
So even like the odd time if I'm sick or whatever and I'm singing with Dustin, I'll be like, can we like lower it a half
right,
step? 'Cause it's so high. But
right.
no, and it's been really cool with me and him because like we become really good friends and we
That's
got
so cool.
to, experience and celebrate together where usually it's just you celebrating by yourself or with your
Yeah.
team or whatever. But to get to do it with him, and he's such a good guy and like he's so sweet. Like he literally just sent my daughter a gift the other day.
Oh,
Just like as Uncle Dustin. Like he's
oh,
such a good guy.
that's so cute. Well, that's great. And I love that you guys there's a relationship. So I'm fingers crossed. I'm sure we'll get more collabs in the future because we need to. But just know that I am singing the Mackenzie Porter part in the car. So
Hey,
that's happening.
that's
Right.
smart.
So what is coming up in 2024, the rest of 2024 and beyond? I mean, I know you're hitting the road again. What's the plan or what are we doing?
So I'm just like out every single weekend. So I
Mm.
was just out with Parker McCollum. I'm out with Keith Urban again, out with Brett Young, a bunch of festivals, and then I head over to Australia for shows.
Whoa, have you been before or no?
I've been a couple years ago
Okay.
for shows, and I'm excited to go back. We did the Brad Paisley tour over there,
Oh,
uh,
cool.
but just a ton of shows. Probably more music, honestly. Like
Nice.
at the end, I'd love to just like drop a couple more songs at the end of this year,
Yeah,
and yeah, headlining dates coming up, just a bunch of touring.
please. Well, please make sure there's a Chicago date because
I
I need to
know.
see
I played the Windy City Smokeout last year or 2 years ago.
last year. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I did I actually saw Parker this year. I went one of the days that he headlined and his show's amazing. But um maybe next year Mackenzie will be headlining.
Hey,
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I just would be happy to come and play.
Yeah. So yeah, please make sure that's a Chicago day because I got to see Mackenzie live. But thank you so much for taking time to hang out with me today and talk to me about your art and your music. And I'm such a fan, and this is a big deal. And for anyone who hasn't checked out the album yet, Nobody's Born with a Broken Heart, an amazing and honestly, I have not said this yet on this podcast, a no skip album. Like I'm not even joking. You're gonna love every single song. And hopefully I will see you when you're out on the road. Come up here and I hope you have an amazing 2024. I can't wait to see just like you're already such an amazing and huge artist. And I just know that you're like about to just explode. And I'm so excited and lucky that you took the time to talk to me today. So
Hey,
thank you so much.
thanks for like championing women and
Yeah.
supporting like little artists like myself, and I appreciate it. So
Yes. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. And have a good rest of your day. All right. Thank you.
yeah.
Bye.